Now here comes a review for a movie that could have been one of the best movies of the year, but instead is one of the biggest disappointments of the year. The Circle, directed by James Ponsell, the man that directed The Spectacular Now, based on the book by Dave Eggers, starring Emma Watson, Tom Hanks, Patton Oswalt, Eller Coltrane, Karen Gillan, and the late Bill Paxton. This movie is about a woman named May Holland, played by Emma Watson, who's working as a customer service rep at a company, and she's been wanting to get a job at this corporation called The Circle, which is kind of like Facebook and Google mashed up into one, and they have all these cameras all over the planet practically. And some of these cameras are camouflaged, some of these cameras are not, so you can actually see some of these cameras you cannot see because of how well they're hidden. And the corporation is run by a guy named Bailey, played by Tom Hanks, who is our main antagonist of the film. So with the help of her best friend Annie, played by Karen Gillan, who works at the corporation, May ends up getting a job there, and she becomes a customer service rep and begins to help the corporation grow bigger, sell their internet connections out to other people. And eventually she meets John Boyega's character Ty, who appears to be working at the corporation, but he is also undercover trying to find out about where they're keeping their hard data on everybody that they're collecting information about. And he does eventually show May where the hard data is within this corporate building, and this one area happens to be the only area within this corporation where there are no cameras. However, the only way to get into this area is with your fingerprint. So the corporation would know that you are in there by just checking the records of the last person who entered their fingerprint in there. And he does seem to be one of the few people that is trying to, in a way, take down the Circle because he sees the problem with privacy rights and everything. And there is a point in this movie where May decides to go completely transparent, which means she decides to have a camera watch her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She allows to have drones watch her that are connected to the Circle. And when this happens, you realize how dull of a character she is, and that she's not all that interesting of a protagonist, which is kind of a shame considering James Ponsell, the guy who directed this film, is a very good director. I mean, The Spectacular Now was a great movie, but that was an independent film. This is more of a big mainstream film, so this film may have been too big for him to handle, perhaps. Or maybe there was too much studio interference or something, because this movie has very little conflict. The characters are not very well developed, which is a real shame when you have Tom Hanks, one of the greatest actors ever, playing the villain. And I do believe Tom Hanks could play a villain, but his character is not given enough screen time and not given enough character development in order to seem like a interesting enough villain, per se. And then you have Patton Oswalt's character, who is kind of like Bailey's business partner, Tom Hanks' business partner within the corporation, and his spokesman. And his character is not given enough development either, really. Then you have Eller Coltrane, who plays May's other best friend, and he's not given enough character development either, really. He only has like a few scenes, really, and he becomes a main plot point within the movie, but there's really not much to his character, and he's a terrific actor. I mean, he was great in Boyhood. And then we have the two actors that play May's parents. You got Glenn Headley, or Glenn Headley, I'm not sure how to say her first name. She was in the movie Dick Tracy, playing Dick Tracy's love interest. And she's pretty good in the movie. And then you have Bill Paxton, who plays May's father, and his character has multiple sclerosis, and he was very good in the movie, considering that this is his last film, which is really sad. When I'm watching this film, I do feel how much I miss him as an actor, really. And then there's the fact that Emma Watson does not do very well playing an American character, really, since she's a British actress, and there are a lot of points within this movie where her British accent does come out. So there's that problem within the movie. I mean, you have another British actor in this film, John Boyega, who's very good at playing an American character. He can fake an American accent pretty well, really. But Emma Watson doesn't always do a good job of faking an American accent, really. So overall, this movie is just not very good, and that is so disappointing. I really hoped this was going to be a good movie, considering the subject matter this was going to be about, with privacy rights and everything. But if you were to compare this to movies like The Social Network, or even the Sandra Bullock movie that came out back in the 90s called The Net, those movies are much more interesting and a bit more thrilling and exciting than this movie. This movie's just not interesting, not compelling enough. And that is a real shame. So I'm gonna have to give this movie a D. I really don't think I can recommend seeing this film. I suppose if you want to see it, I'd say rent it, but I don't think it's even worth renting, really. And I don't really hate this movie, but it's not a good movie. So you're better off just waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to come out. That's all I gotta say for The Circle. You're probably better off reading the book.